My name is George Beck, and we are going to talk about torts, in particular negligence. And we're going to look at Tolenoa versus Dennys to illustrate that. So, what is negligence? Well, in accordance with tort law, everyone has the duty to act reasonably and exercise a reasonable amount of care in their dealings and interactions with others. So, how do we prove negligence? Well, we take a look at a case and we see that there's four things. One, the defendant must be owed a duty to the plaintiff. Two, the defendant must have breached that duty. Three, the breach must have caused an injury to the plaintiff. And four, that injury must be an actually legally recognized injury. And this is different than intentional tort because the lack of legal intent. So a little bit of backstory here. In the Tolenoa versus Dennys, the plaintiffs Stephen Tolenoa, Lisa Beltran Walker, and her husband Carl Walker versus the defendants Dennys Restaurants and Linda Hoffman. It was decided in February 7th, 2011, and the actual incident took place in the Dennys restaurant January 21st, 2007. So on that night, Stephen went to the Denny's restaurant in Kent, Washington, with his brother, and there were several other customers there getting a bite to eat after a night drinking, as people like to do, and this location was known for that. Late night after the bars closed at 2 in the morning. As another customer entered the restaurant, Frank Evans, and he started causing problems. He got into verbal and physical altercations with other customers and got beat up himself. And eventually, he got so mad he went outside to his truck, got a gun, and came back and shot the place up. Unfortunately, this struck Lisa Walker in the leg and Stephen Tolenoa in the back, paralyzing him. Of course, this caused traumatizing emotional stress for Carl because he was concerned for his wife and then just the gun in general. So a case was brought forth. Obviously, there was the trial, the criminal case against Frank, and then there was another case brought against Denny's restaurants. So what was there negligence on behalf of Denny's? Well, the case was tried on the legal duty of an owner of a commercial premise to protect its customers from reasonable foreseeable harm and criminal violence. So, was there foreseeable harm and criminal violence? Yes, there was. Because this Kent Denny's location had a history of violent acts in the late night shift. There were over 1,100 calls made to 911 in the past 2 years prior to the incident. There were no security guards or off-duty Kent police at the location, and the manager was in the back the entire time the incident took place. This location was known to have violence. The employees were actually scared to go to work, and the manager and employees had asked higher up, the general manager and corporate, and they were just tuned to a deaf ear. So clearly there was a duty to protect the patrons of the restaurant, and this duty was breached because there was known violence to occur at this location. So the result of this was negligence was proven against the defendant, and because obviously there was actual harm to the plaintiffs, they were awarded $46.4 million. Before that, there was an agreement entered, so a judgment of $13 million was entered based on this agreement. So as you can see, this is what negligence is, and it was proven so in this case.